So here we're going to talk about the subscribe and the unsubscribe command. So first off, you find those commands by clicking on your plus sign and going to Panelist Data, and here you have the subscribe and the unsubscribe. So why would you want to use the subscribe and the unsubscribe? Well, to start off with, what you're doing in that command is adding somebody to a list or taking them off of a list, and it needs to be a subscription list. So to start, we're going to go through how to subscribe people to a list within a questionnaire using the subscribe command. To do that, we're going to need to have a subscription list out there to add people to. So first we need to create a list, which I've already done here. I've got the smartphone users list, and I also have a computer users list. You'll see it is a subscription list that I've just checked as unlimited. Currently we have 3 people in this list because they've gone through the study and they've agreed to participate in surveys as smartphone users. Okay, so how did they get into this list? Going back to the questionnaire, again, we add this command in. So in this case, we're saying, okay, what devices do you use on a daily basis? And they've listed off what devices they use. Okay, so we've got anything from smartphones to computers to tablets to iPads, smart TV, and they can indicate any one of those. If by chance they've indicated either a smartphone or a computer, we're going to ask them if they want to participate in upcoming research based on the devices that they indicated. And if they say yes, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put them into the subscription list for the device that they've indicated that they use. If they say no, we're going to nicely thank them and not put them on a list. So again, if they say yes, we continue. We go to subscribe. Here is the subscribe command that I've added for a smartphone. What you do here is indicate the list that they're subscribing to, and you'll notice here it's a drop down, and there's a whole list of different options that you can select from. So in this case, it was the smartphone, right? So we click the smartphone. Again, there's a success and a failure to jump to. Chances are in this case, nobody's going to fail because I've put an unlimited list. But if by chance you had a list of, say, only 50 people that you wanted to join, and this is the 51st person to come through it, then they would go on to a different route or follow a different logic out of there. In this case, likely they're going to continue to the next filter, which is going to say, do you use a computer? Again, if they indicate that they use a computer, they will again go through a subscribe command. This time, the list that's been selected to add them to in the drop-down menu is computer users. They're going to continue. Basically, it's going to thank them for their participation and jump them to the end. Okay? So, as a user, we're going to go through that survey and see what it looks like. I've already gone in here and put in a username and password. We're going to go into my portal. Under my available surveys, I should have the subscription list. And I do, subscription study. I'm going to click on that one. I'm going to indicate here that I have used a smartphone, maybe I use an iPad, and I use a computer on a daily basis. It's going to ask me, am I willing to participate in research about the devices that I've indicated? And I'm really only interested in this case in smartphones and computers. Maybe it's just one, maybe it's all of them, and you're putting all of them into different lists if they choose that they do use them. I will select yes, and it simply thanks me. Okay? So now I can go back to the actual study, my subscription study, If I'm to look at the view responses, I can see where several people have gone through, and I can see where here they went through and they were subscribed for smartphones. These people were subscribed for computer. So I've got, 5 people here for a smartphone. So if I go back to here to the smartphone list, and in this case I'm going to get out of it to be able to refresh it. Come back in here and search, go to my smartphone users list, and you'll see I've got 5 people in that list. Okay, so those are the people that have been added from going through that questionnaire using the subscription command. Now on the flip side, maybe I've accumulated this list, and say 6 months or a year from now, I want to reuse this list, but I want to make sure that these people are still using smartphones or computers or whatever I've subscribed to. So I created another study, and it's going to be an unsubscribed data collection, where if they are no longer using that device on, say, a daily basis, or no longer want to participate in the study, we can go through and we can use an unsubscribe command and take them off the list. So here I simply have an intro. I have just looking to update our records. And if they say that they're no longer interested, or maybe they're not using the smartphone anymore, this is specific to smartphone in this case, I'm going to add again by using the plus sign, panelist data, bringing in an unsubscribe command. Looks very similar to the subscribe command. It's now just saying, what list am I unsubscribing them from? And in this case, if they no longer want to participate or are no longer using a smartphone on a daily basis, we can take them off the smartphone users, okay? And then thank them for their time and participation. So again, I'm going to probably send this list out, or send this study out to that list of smartphone people. So I've got the study all put together with the exception of participants. In this case, I'm going to add the unsubscribe, or the smartphone list that I have. These are all people that are users. 5 people have been added to the pool. Okay, those are my 5 users. I'm going to save them. Oops. Let me go ahead and publish my study. Okay, so my study has been completed. Now I can go back. I'll get out of my previous login. Okay, I'm going to log in as one of those users that previously used it and is on that subscription list. So I'm going to log in, and now I should see an unsubscribe study on here. I do. Here's my unsubscribe study. I click on that study. Thank you for the interest in participating in our studies. Just to update our information, are you still using the smartphone daily and interested in continuing to participate in studies? If I say yes, it's going to go to the end and thank me. If I say no, it's going to continue and take me out. Okay, so again, I can come back here. I can go to my view responses. I can see in my view responses, it went through. Was I interested? No. And number 2, I went through the unsubscribe and I was successful. So I should now be no longer included in this list. So if I go back once again to my smartphone users, I'm going to close out of this list. I'm going to search and I'm going to come back into that list. I should now have 4 people in that list. So I have 4 people in the list. The person that I took out of that list was panelist ID 34711, which you see is no longer in that list. So Betty White chose to no longer participate, or maybe she's no longer using her smartphone, so she has been unsubscribed from that subscription list. And that's how you use the subscription or subscribe and unsubscribe commands.